the next 18 months or so, the state health department will be setting up a medical marijuana program here in New York. It's the 23rd state to have a medical marijuana program, including Vermont, which allowed dispensaries there to open up last year. We sent our fact finder Tori Wells to the state of Vermont to see how a program like this is set up and regulated.
Not far from the heart of downtown Burlington sits a nondescript office building by the water. Inside, next to other businesses, is a medical marijuana dispensary.
What's bringing you here today?
I have brain cancer. I have what's called a glioblastoma, which is pretty much incurable and aggressive. And
Debra Lentine told me that she's read about studies where medical marijuana is used to help patients like her.
Help kill off the bad cells, maybe, and help the chemo get to those cells.
So she's here for an appointment.
Well, the process works. You basically just push a button, you look into the camera, introduce yourself or announce yourself.
Shane Lynn is the executive director of the Champlain Valley Dispensary. It's one of 4 here in Vermont. He gave us these pictures from inside.
We do everything, seed to sale.
Lynn says the state has strict rules to try and keep that marijuana out of the wrong hands. Background checks are done on employees. Grow and dispensary sites are secure. In New York, those regulations will be similar, and the health commissioner will have the power to set up more rules.
Video cameras, extra locks, safes, all the normal stuff.
So we had asked if we could go in and get video, and you said even that's not allowed.
Yeah, you need to have a state ID card to come on the premises.
This is a sample patient card, so it has the patient's name, the patient's ID number, which is something that law enforcement can check.
Jeffrey Whalen is the director of the Vermont Crime Information Center in Waterbury, which oversees the medical marijuana program in Vermont.
We really view this as something that we want to implement in a tightly controlled environment while allowing patients to access what they're entitled to access through the statutes.
He told me the state's job is to manage the registry and monitor those dispensaries.
We'll drop in, do a summary review of security to make sure all their security is in place, maybe spot review some records.
Back in Burlington, Lynn told me he doesn't know of anyone who's abused the program, but says patient purchases are monitored. In New York, the commissioner will set prices for the drug, but in Vermont, dispensaries do. Lynn says he tries to set them at a level that discourages resale on the street.
We don't want that kind of diversion happening, and so that is a factor in how we price things.
He says prices here range. A marijuana cookie is about $8, a tincture about $45. And unlike New York, Vermont allows medical marijuana to be smoked. Lynn says an ounce of that can cost $400. Insurance companies in both states are not required to cover the drug, so patients like Lentine pay out of pocket.
This is one chance that I have, and maybe it'll work. And if it does, then I'll be around next year and the year after.
In Burlington, Tori Wells, CBS 6 News.
And our fact finders learned that there are other differences between the New York and Vermont laws. In Vermont, marijuana can be smoked. In New York, that will not be allowed. Doctors in Vermont just certify a person's condition, the dose, and the kind of marijuana used. That's up to the patient and the dispensary, while in New York, doctors will be trained and then will help determine what form and dose the patient should use.
2 people have died. One is at Albany Med tonight after a car tried to pass an oncoming tractor trailer and hit another car along Route 7 in Bennington. This happened last night along Carpenter Hill Road. Police say alcohol was a factor when 36-year-old Jamie Sorrell of Bennington, the one who was trying to pass, hit 26-year-old Danny Thomas's car head-on. Sorrell and Thomas were both killed, and a passenger in Thomas's car was airlifted to Albany Med. None of them was wearing a seatbelt. Well, the price of gas is going down. The average price for a gallon in the U.S. fell under $3.60 for the first time in more than 3 months. Analysts expect prices will drop even more later this summer thanks to increased oil production. Prices are taking a dip here in the capital region as well, but not close to that average. According to the CBS 6 gas gauge, we're sitting at $3.78 a gallon right now. That is down 2 cents from last week. We are still higher, though, than the average this time last year.